Today we're going to be working with point slope form. So point slope form is y minus y1, which equals the slope times by the quantity of x minus x1. So when we're working with this, these two values are going to make up our point, and it'll be the opposite, so x1 and y1. Our m is still our slope. That hasn't changed. So let's take a look at how we can graph each equation that's in point slope form. So we know, looking at this, our point is going to be a -4, -1. So we can plot that point, -4, -1. And we know our slope is 2/3. So we're going to be going up 2, to the right 3. So there's graphing our equation in point slope form. So let's look at another example. Using our point, we're going to have a +3, +2. So 1, 2, 3, +2. So there's our first point. And our slope is -3/2. So we're going to go down 3, to the right 2. So our last example. Our point is going to be a +3, +2. And our slope is that 1 in front that's invisible. So we're going up 1 over 1. So now what happens when we're given a point and we're given a slope and we want to write it in point slope form? So we have y minus 2 equals our slope, which is -5/3, times by the quantity of x minus 4. So here we have y plus 8 equals our slope, which is -3, times by the quantity of x minus 5. So look at the last one. Y minus 2 equals our slope, which is 0, times by the quantity of x plus 1. But here, since we're doing 0 times the quantity of x plus 1, 0 times x plus 1, or 0 times anything, equals 0. So now we also know that if we add 2 to both sides, we're going to have y equals 2. Remember, when we have a slope of 0, that means we're going to have a horizontal line, and it's going to cross at a +2. So here, if we are given 2 points, we need to write it in point slope form. So first we have to find the slope before we can write it in there. So that's where we can label x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is 2 minus our y1, which is 0, divided by our x2, which is 1, minus by our x1, which is a -1. So 2 minus 0 is 2. 1 minus a -1 is a +2. So our slope is 1. So there's 2 different ways we can write in point slope form. We can use our first point, which would be y plus 0 equals our slope times by the quantity of x plus 1. So the only thing we have to be careful with is y plus 0 we know is equals y. So here's one answer. Or we could look at our second point. So we'd have y minus 2 equals our slope, which is 1, times by the quantity of x minus 1. Both of these are our correct answer. So let's again find our slope. x1, y1, x2, y2. So y2 is -8 minus our y1, which is a -2, divided by x2, which is 9, minus by our x1, which is 4. -8 minus a -2 is a -6, divided by 9 minus 4, which is 5. And that can't reduce anymore, so our slope is -6/5. So once again, we can have 2 different answers. If we chose point 1, we would have y plus 2 equals our slope of -6/5 times by the quantity of x minus 4. Or we could use the second point, which we'd have y plus 8 equals negative 6/5 for our slope times by the quantity of x minus 9. This one I want you to try on your own. Let's determine if the following relations are linear functions. So in order to do that, we want to make sure that they have the same constant rate of change. So to find the first, let's do 3 minus 7 divided by 3 minus our negative 3. So 3 minus 7 is a negative 4. 3 minus a negative 3 is 6. And we can reduce that down to negative 2/3. So to check that, let's try it again. So let's look at these two values. So we have negative 1 minus 1 divided by 9 minus 6. So negative 1 minus 1 is a negative 2. 9 minus 6 is 3. So we have a constant rate of change. So yes, this is a linear function. So if we want to write it in point slope form, I'm going to use this first point up here. There are 3 other ones, so there are technically 4 different answers. So we have y, it's a plus 7, so minus 7 equals negative 2/3 times by the quantity of x plus 3. So let's take a look at this second one, see if it's a linear function. So let's do 12 minus 6 divided by 3 minus negative 3. 12 minus 6 is 6. 3 minus a negative 3 is 6, which equals 1. So to check to make sure it's a linear, checks the next two. 90 minus 42 divided by 9 minus 6. 90 minus 42 is 48. 9 minus 6 is 3, which equals 16. So this is not a linear function. So we can't write this in point slope form. Alright, let's see what happens when we write an equation for the line that is graphed. So first I just want to find some points I can work with, which look like these two. So I'm going to choose my furthermost left point and find that value. So it looks like we're at a negative 2 and a positive 1. So I know I'm going to have y minus 1 equals, I don't know my slope yet, and x plus 2. So to find my slope, I know I'm going up 3, I'm moving to the right 5. So my slope is 3/5. So let's look at the second one. Find some points. There's one. And another one. So once again, doesn't matter which point you start with, I'm just going to do the left one. We are over a negative 2, and we're up a positive 3. So y minus 3, don't know our slope yet, x plus 2. So our slope looks like 1, 2, 3. We're going down 4 to the right 5. So our slope is at negative 4/5. Look at the last two. This one is a horizontal line, meaning it's crossing the y-axis, and it's at a negative 2. So y equals negative 2. Here we have a horizontal line. It's crossing the x-axis, and it's crossing it at 3.